A badge of honor. Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But that's not how it feels today, and the stress of the job is taking its toll, taking lives through suicide and post-traumatic stress injury. A Badge of Honor podcast features the cast of the same name, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno. Sam, John, and the team offer the first responders workshops through their critical incident stress management teams and mental health liaisons to offer state-certified T-COLE credit programs that save lives. It's time to smash through the stigma. It's time to heal from your injury, and it's time to back our blue. Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast. Here are your hosts, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. We are powered by the OBBM network. And tonight we got a great show. We got Katie Carlson with the Marion County Sheriff's Department. She's the Director of Health and Wellness. And what we just found out pre-show is they have a large agency over there.
Yeah, really, really big. So it comes with, any complications with a big agency, maybe people, falling through the cracks. It's holiday time where it's Thanksgiving week. And before we know it, Christmas will be here and Hanukkah and everything in between. And then the new year. And this is historically one of the toughest times for first responders. And just, a little reminder as we're, home prepping for, the holiday meal, having family in town, having fun, our first responders don't get a break. And so that's why when we talk about the big agencies, it's even more important to check in often, check in with each other, call it a buddy check, whatever you want. But let's make sure, because we're on the job, that everybody is safe and healthy while doing the job.
Yeah. And, kudos to the departments that are out there that are really taking this serious. You bring up a great point. A lot of these officers, and like Katie was bringing up, the jailers and, all the personnel, they have to work 24/7. So they are away from their families. So, that's a hard sell when you are, you're missing your kids, whatever, Thanksgiving or Hanukkah or Christmas. Those are hard things to digest. So I'm glad that they are taking a first step and really helping them get through the holiday season. There's a lot of departments that just don't have the resources to be able to do that for their men and women.
Absolutely. And you got together, we just had Walk the Bridge yesterday, and you were together with a great group, and there were some tears shed. Do you want to share with everybody what happened?
We've been doing Walk the Bridge probably almost a little over 4 years now, between Rockwall and Rowlett. And this is probably the most memorable moments that I've ever experienced. There wasn't a lot of people, probably about 30 people, but I got a text about 3 or 4 weeks ago from one of the people that do Walk the Bridge, and they said, "Hey, my grandfather's birthday is on the 19th. He'll be celebrating his 96th birthday, and he is a highly decorated Army airborne veteran from the Korean War." And she's like, "Can we honor him?" I'm like, "Sure, we can honor him. Not a problem." And if you notice the flyer, I put his picture on there in a whole bit. Well, he showed up, and it was horrible weather. It was misting, rain, cloudy, but he showed up, 96 years old, in his wheelchair. And everybody just sung happy birthday to him. Everybody thanked him. They really gave him a blessing. And then he crossed the bridge with us. And like I said, he's in his wheelchair. So we go to the Fire Police Memorial, and we circle it once. We say a quick, we're ready to say a prayer, but I always let somebody plant a flag in the garden, So I asked him, I said, "Do you want me to plant the flag for you?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "I will plant it." I'm like, okay. Very unsteady on his feet, but he got up and he walked across the lawn. holding that American flag, and me and Bear, Anthony Oliver, held him by the arms, and he bent down. And it was such a proud, I'm tearing up now. It was such a proud moment for him to plant that flag at that memorial. And he got up and he saluted it, and we walked back to the wheelchair. And, you know, he said a prayer, and he was just thanking everybody for a blessed day. And he brought up things that, you know, tomorrow is not promised. And, you know, we gotta cherish each and every moment of our lives, because we don't know. Tomorrow really doesn't exist. It's just a thing that is there that we think about. And, you know, when we wake up in the morning, it's a blessing that we get to live another day on this earth. So he brought a lot of these things up. And at 96 years old, you don't know, you know, that time is running out. But he was happy. He was thankful. He was blessed. And I go, man, was this what your birthday is all about? And he goes, well, I do have one thing on my bucket list. And I was like, what's that? He goes, I always wanted to ride on the back of a motorcycle at 96. So I said, so Bear turned around and goes, when we get back up to the parking lot, we're going to make that happen. We got all the way back up to the parking lot. We cross the bridge again, get back up to the parking lot. We take him out of his wheelchair. He was able to get on the back of Bear's motorcycle, right? And everybody was nervous, like, listen, because the roads were a little damp and, you know.
Slick, yeah.
Yeah. So, man, as soon as he got on the back of the bike and Bear started revving up the engine, the smile on this guy's face, and he took him around Fort Worth for about a 10-minute ride, and he was moving. You know, you could hear the engine going. Yeah. So when he got back, I'm like, Bear, he's 96 years old. He goes, he kept telling me to go faster.
Oh, I love it.
But it was a moment. It was a moment that really brought everything about Walk the Bridge. You know, we raise awareness for the mental health stigma of our veterans and our first responders, but we also are there to honor all our veterans and our first responders, past and present. And that it was such a heartwarming moment. And you know, you wish every day could be like that, because he really brought some good things. Listen to our veterans, our older veterans as well, man, and they will inspire you. And he inspired me to just live each and every day like it's your last.
Well, that's fantastic.
That was Art Rodriguez, U.S. Airborne veteran.
Awesome, awesome, and it is the little things. So yeah. It is awesome that you could make the wish come true. And when we talk about taking care of our first responders and our veterans, our guest tonight, she is the director of wellness at Marion County Sheriff's Office in Indiana. And she is responsible for just bringing the healing. And she does it in a way that's very unique, because we're going to get into hope science here on our conversation. So without further ado, let's bring in Katie Carlson. Katie, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be here.
Well, this is great. Tell everybody, yeah, we love having you. Please tell everybody watching and listening your story. How'd you get where you are?
Well, I have been at the Marion County Sheriff's Office for about 11 years now. I had worked in another field before that, worked in the field of politics, actually, before that for about 8.5 years. And so, yeah, I started at the end of 2012, and I was the public information officer for 8.5 years. And that was a very difficult job. I was the lone public information officer. As I mentioned when we were talking before, we've got a really large jail facility, and you know, there's a lot that can happen. So 8.5 years of that, and eventually during that time, I ended up going through yoga teacher training. I was interested in starting to teach yoga to my colleagues at the Marion County Sheriff's Office, and had, you know, got a little bit more experience under my belt before I did that. Was able to do that. And then actually one day I was writing a press release about a law enforcement mental health and wellness act grant that we had received at the Sheriff's Office from the Department of Justice Cops Office. And I asked my friend, who was our CFO, who's going to be putting this, who's managing this grant, who's putting it into place. It had peer support in it. It had a mindfulness, which we'll talk about more today too. It had a mindfulness component, and I just thought it sounded really cool. So in addition to being PIO, I had taken on that, the implementation of that grant, and I was teaching and doing a lot with recruiting and about how to break down, and then was like, can I drop PIO? And I'm very lucky that Sheriff Gary Forstall said yes and trusted me to do that. So I've been in this current role for about 2.5 years now, and just feel so grateful and lucky to be able to do this work every day.
Katie, before the grant, before you started this, was there anything in place, or are you the one that kind of steamrolled the whole mental health and wellness to go, you know, show people where to go with this grant?
There had been a little bit historically, but it wasn't really widely known to all of the members of the Marion County Sheriff's Office. And so, you know, it certainly, you know, was not the first person to think about it. But with the grant, it was really a huge push of momentum to be able to move it all forward. So for the most part, we started from scratch.
Oh wow,
that's great. You know, we're gonna talk about the grant, how that all came about, because I'm sure there are people watching like, hey, we need that kind of grant as well. We're gonna talk about mindfulness and much more when we come back from our first break. Stay tuned, everybody.
Move freely, America, without medical restrictions or penalty. Without medical freedom legislation in place, our rights and freedoms are one vote away from being dissolved. Move freely, America, with one voice, without fear of retribution, achieving a common goal, medical freedom. We the people make our voices heard by connecting with state legislators and engaging a constitutionally compliant medical Bill of Rights for all citizens. Individually, change is improbable, but as an aggregate, attainable. It's time to act with one voice. My voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
To protect our freedom, creating one voice that cannot be ignored. This requires your voice, too. Move Freely America. Go to movefreelyamerica.org to find a chapter near you. Plug in, donate, and help our legislators defend our God-given rights under the Constitution. Move Freely America. My voice.
And my voice.
And together with your voice, we're one voice that cannot be ignored. Donate today. MoveFreelyAmerica.org.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam and our special guest, Katie Carlson, with the Marion County Sheriff's Department it's Indianapolis, correct?
Yeah.
Indianapolis. You know, before we broke for commercial, we were talking about the grant that you guys got, and how, you know, it took someone to take the ball and run with it to really get it through such a large department, because we know you have a lot of hurdles to go through. It's not easy. And I know when we talked in the beginning, he was talking about some yoga, and we've had some yoga therapy on past shows. And I know that's tough, especially with a lot of the male officers, to bring that, but it's so helpful and it changes your whole mindset. Did you have any challenges going, we're bringing yoga, and these manly guys going, I'm not doing that?
You know, not too much. I think that, you know, there's been a lot of progress made in changing, you know, some of the stigma against a lot of different modalities of wellness. Primarily, the yoga that I teach with public safety is at a training academy level. And so I teach at our training academy, which is great because, you know, unless you have an injury, and in the way that I teach, which is the trauma sensitive way, where I encourage, I'm not trying to put anybody in a very specific position. You know, I encourage everybody. I want them to be listening to their body and moving in and out of something if it feels, you know, better. I want any of the work that we're doing to feel good in their body. That's my point and my intention. But it's nice when they kind of have to do it for training. And it's really a great opportunity to at least introduce yoga as a modality of wellness. And I don't just teach yoga at our training academy to all of our incoming deputies and detention deputies. I actually teach it also, and mindfulness at the Indiana State Police Training Academy and at the Indiana Law Enforcement Training Academy. And so a really large number of incoming public safety personnel are doing that. And, you know, I'll usually tell them before we get started, after this, I don't really care if you ever do yoga again, but you have to do something. And you have to figure out what that is. This is an option, but you have to be in your body. You have to stay in your body. You have to find interests. You have to keep up with those interests. That's how we help to, mitigate day-to-day stress and trauma, in a high
absolutely
trauma environment, high risk environment.
Let me ask you, so the grant that you guys got, is this grant open to all law enforcement agencies across the United States?
I think that there are some restrictions, but it's usually open every year on a cycle, and it's been getting that grant's been just an enormous blessing for our agency and really for me personally, because they have been the COPS office. It's been incredibly supportive of the programming that we have been doing, and they have allowed us to really shift. I didn't write the grant, as I mentioned to you. I just got a press release telling us that we got it, and so it wasn't necessarily written in the way. The programs weren't exactly what I necessarily would have done. And the COPS office, Nicole Prest in particular, have just been amazing about letting us use this funding and shape it in a way that's going to best serve our agency. And so with that, and then with the sheriff's support and foresight, really, of being able to put a full-time wellness person in place, which is, both a luxury and shouldn't be. Especially for an agency of this size, that we've been able to really get so much out of the grant, and it's been able to support so many projects for a few, for years now.
And me and Sam, when we first started this show back, I don't know how many years we've been on, Sam, maybe 4.
It's been a minute since we were Mad Radio,
Yeah.
Radio.
But when we first started, and Sam always set this up, would always say, your mental health wellness program is, the budget is usually one below the paper clips, and to watch departments across the nation grow and put these, it's a slow go, but now we're seeing grants and more grants being searched out and written for these specific programs. I think it's amazing. And I'm glad to see departments really taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, well, there really is an excellent LIMWA community. That's what I refer to it as, LIMWA. Other people may pronounce it other ways, but there's really an amazing community too, where we're able to share online the resources that we're using. It's kind of an open code source situation, as everybody, is putting out on the table what's going on in real time. And so it's been really supportive, both from their office and from the other recipients. And so it's an excellent program.
Well, that's phenomenal. And one of the things that we had talked about before is this concept of hope science. Mm-hmm. Can you go into what that encompasses and how you get that out to the troopers?
Well, so hope science is a pretty new field, and it's very new to our agency. So I've been kind of just slowly working to implement it here at the sheriff's office. It's primarily based on the work of Dr. Chan Hellman, and he is just incredible. And the premise is that essentially hope is not a feeling. It's not, I hope you have a good day. It's, this action that you take in order to know that tomorrow can be better than today. That the future is better, and that there's something that we can do ourselves to make it better. So that's really what hope is. And the word gets watered down so much in the English language that it's kind of lost a lot of its meaning, but it's an extremely powerful word. Over 2,000 studies, hope is almost universally associated with good things. Higher retention, something every agency is looking at right now, higher health outcomes. And so hope is just a pretty much universally good thing. And then the premise is that hope is it's a science, and you can measure it. So everybody has a hope level, and you can have different hope levels in different areas of your life. And if you look up hope science, there's a tool to be able to measure your hope level online, and then you can gauge it. You can check your hope now, and you can measure it again in 6 months. But the premise is that you can raise your level of hope by basically setting goals, but your goals need to have two things. They have to have pathways. I could want to be the next Taylor Swift, but my voice is always hoarse. I'm 40. I have no other musical talent. So I don't have pathways to being the next Taylor Swift. But if my goal was to implement Hope Science through our peer support team, and I know you guys talk a lot about peer support team. I'm the coordinator of our peer support team. So, CISM, all that. I'm just really so amazed by how powerful peer support and CISM are. But if you want to implement,
can I stop you for 1 second? Before I forget this thought, I love your passion.
Thanks.
Oh my God, Sam, right? I'm feeling the energy. I
Yes.
can't imagine being in the office with you as an officer, because you're bringing it through the screen right now. So much passion and love for your job. It's given me hope. It really is. So, man, you are doing amazing. You are doing an amazing job just by speaking.
Thanks for saying that. And, I think that it literally all comes down to the other people that I've had the opportunity to connect. None of us is an island. Your shirts, you're not alone, and if there's anything that you learn in public safety and it's like the Band-Aid, right? The fact that we're all in this together, that all of our bodies really work the same way, that these kinds of breath work techniques, that they're proven, to be able to help, and that, someone else's, their lungs aren't malfunctioning, and that it doesn't work on them. Breath works and it helps. And so, I love that stuff. So Hope Science, you have to have goals, and then you have to have pathways, and then you have to have willpower. So you can have all of the steps laid out in front of you, but if you don't take the first step, you're not going to achieve your goal. And so setting goals, we set goals, we'll identify obstacles to the goals, and identify markers to it. So it's been studied a lot in the University of Oklahoma. That's where Dr. Hellman works, in Oklahoma Child Services area. It's been having some really remarkable results on both youth from violent homes and workers in that area. It's been embraced by the First Lady of Oklahoma, and so they've really been doing some incredible stuff. So I think that we're just hearing the beginning of it when we talk about that. And that being said, I'm not an expert. I've just done a Hope Navigator training, and I'll share a link to an upcoming Hope Navigator training coming up. But an organization, Social Current, has been doing great work on it. The Department of Justice Office of Victims of Crime has had a grant that's been supporting this work too. So we're just at the beginning of it. We've set a goal for our peer support team. We've set metrics to the goal. We've identified obstacles for the goal, and we're in the process of being able to do that more as individuals. And what I would love to see someday in the sheriff's office is for everyone who works here to have a goal. And I don't care if it's personal or professional or whatever it is, but if everyone has something that you're striving for and you're making little progress on it, science says that you'll be increasing your hope score. And so it's just really powerful and really simple. And that's what I love about it.
You bring that goal up, and I think like you teach in the academy, right? Mm-hmm. So every cadet that's coming in has a goal to be the best that they can be and to serve the public the best of their ability, right? Mm-hmm. But we know the stresses of the job, sometimes the stresses of the bosses, the holiday work schedule, all these, and the traumas can sometimes knock those hope blocks out from under you. So doing what you're doing keeps that steady rise, rebuilding that so they don't knock those blocks out. So hitting the academy is a perfect place to start mental health. And I like to see the upswing on the pendulum.
Yeah, let's when we come back from our next break, let's talk about how mindfulness supports that. We'll be right back, everybody.
All right.
I think we'll be right back. I'm not sure because my mouse is doing funny things or not doing things.
Should I just say, hey, we're back?
It has goals of its own.
I swear it does have goals of its own. So we're just going to have to I guess with the technical difficulties here of getting things to work correctly, we can just because you're gonna hear me. Like, can you hear me banging? Like, I'm doing a New Jersey on the mouse. Like, come on, you can do it. Have hope that you can click so we can go to our next commercial and thank the OBBM network. So because that's not working right now, let's go ahead and our sponsor for this next segment is the OBBM network. You can get all kinds of training by just going to OBBM network. You can Google it, whatever search engine you use. Sign up for training, because if you want to start a podcast, OBBM network has you covered. If you want to learn how to speak better, OBBM has you covered. If you want to learn how to create and build an audience, OBBM network has you covered. So visit OBBM network and just search it up, and they are there for you. Call the number, get scheduled with Susan or one of her staff, and we are back from commercial. John, take it away.
Well, you know what? We're back. Sam, great job improvising. We got Katie Carlson, and you know that what you just did really is one of the building blocks to what Katie's talking about is hope. All right, you hope something would work. It didn't, right? So you took another avenue, you took another pathway, like Katie's saying, you know, and we let things sometimes, little things like that, little technical difficulties, little hiccups in life, we let them stress us out to a point where we can't actually function because it seems overwhelming. But there's always that other pathway we could take to make it a little bit better and say, wow, look, that worked. Nothing happened on this broken pathway, but I could just take another one. So, Sam, you brought us right into a good pathway.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's all
we can call it a hope-centered podcast.
There we go. So Katie, with the mindfulness, just explain, you know, mindfulness as a whole, because you know, a lot of people, when they hear that word, it's like, oh, here we go, you know, kumbaya, or it's a little bit woo-woo. Mindfulness practice has a direct correlation, of a positive direct correlation on how we function in the first responder community.
Yeah, and there's you know, if you thought I was excited before, wait, because I love teaching mindfulness.
I
love teaching mindfulness to public safety personnel, and it's because it's probably one of the most important skills, and it goes right back to and that's what I like about Hope Sciences. It's new, but it's right in line with everything else that I teach. So, you know, mindfulness sometimes gets a weird reputation because people associate it only with, you know, meditation, and they think, oh, meditation's hard. My head's too busy. I can't concentrate for that long. And, you know, there's a lot of different misperceptions about meditation and what it is and what the point of it is. And when it comes down to it, when we're talking about mindfulness and teaching mindfulness to public safety personnel or anyone, one of the most important things to discern for our well-being in life is what is worth our attention and what is not. And so that's where mindfulness comes in. And so every time we teach mindfulness, we start with a conversation where we list the things that are really important to us. And so, you know, we could go on, the three of us, what are those things? Family, you know, friends, dogs, our jobs, you know, doing, you know, even providing for yourself on a day where it's not a great job, a connection to God, you know, hobbies, self-care, all of these things are the things that are really important. And then what distracts us from things that are important? News, toxic relationships, drama, you know, substances. If your goal is to have good health and you're drinking 6 beers every day, and you know that it's a distraction.
Or caffeine.
Well, yeah, good. So I never mean to pick on the beers, but you know, we know what the things that are important in our life and what aren't. So what mindfulness does is it teaches us to be able to recognize when we've become distracted from what really matters, from what really is important to us, and to recognize we've become distracted and redirect our attention back to the things that are important. And so at the end of the day, when I teach mindfulness, I say, I don't, care how long you can meditate. I don't care if you can, you know, and it doesn't matter if in a 5-minute meditation you get distracted 5 times or 100 times. Every single time that you can recognize that your mind has wandered away from this object of mindfulness, you strengthen your muscle of mindfulness and you strengthen your ability to bring your attention back to the things that matter. So we practice in meditation, but the translation into our life is about, are we gonna, you know, come home? And, you know, you said it at the beginning, actually, in the introduction, and it you know, about gave me chills. John, you know, we don't know how much more time we have left with anybody in our lives. You know, I mean, we have no idea. And so if we have our best friend, or we have a parent, or any person who we care about in front of us, and we're sitting here looking at our phone, you know, all caught up on some little thing that doesn't matter, then, you know, we're really kind of letting the important things in life slip away. And when we can recognize, ooh, this is a moment and I need to be right here in this moment. I mean, it adds so much, not only to your own personal well-being, but to, you know, it makes you nicer to your family. You know, I mean, when you can recognize, oh, no, I need to. So, and I teach this too a lot. I'm like, you know, our main point is to not be a jerk to your family on hard days. You know, like, this is a hard job. If it weren't a hard job, you wouldn't have to get OC sprayed and tased to do it. You know, that should just tell you. No, you know, I mean,
it's a great point.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like, those two things, if that's part of the training, then you should expect hard days. That's going to be a part of it. But what do we do with those hard days? How do we come home? How do we process them? Peer support has a lot to do with it. You know, moving our body has a lot to do with it. Staying connected to the people we love has a lot to do with it. And if we can do those things, that's what really builds resilience, to be able to bounce back from the really horrible stuff. And there's a lot of really horrible stuff that happens in this field.
You brought up, when you would count on your fingers, all these things that are important to us. And I think it was like number 9 was self-care, right? Let's bring self-care all the way back to number 1. That should be priority, because just like the airlines, they tell us, you know, the mask got to go on you first. And when you bring up, you know, just observing things, I brought this up at a seminar I just did on Royal Caribbean for the High Seas Rally. We had a whole bunch of veterans and first responders on. Everybody remembers where they were on September 11th, right? They could tell you they were tying their shoes. They were in the kitchen making coffee. They were watching TV. They can, that exact moment, right? But nobody could tell you what they were doing on September 10th. You know why? Because nothing impacted them. We have to stop. As first responders, we have to stop and absorb the good things around us, because we're hit with so many bad things. We got to observe a tree, a lake. Sam, you put out those pictures, those beautiful pictures of the sunrise every morning over Lake Ray Hubbard. And people got to absorb that. You got to see what the good that's around you. And because we take in so bad, we have to let the good overtake that bad. And once we do that, our minds will start getting back into the, you know, the frontal cortex, and we'll be able to start not stressing as much.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, we got to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. Yeah, I promise. With this time, it'll work.
Okay, let's see.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, with our special guest, Katie Carlson, with the Marion County Sheriff's Department. We're getting mentally healthy, and we're been discussing different ways, mindfulness, pathways for your brain. It's very hard for us, our first responders, because we're constantly going. We constantly got our motors running, but we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take a step back and do self-care on ourselves. It's very important for longevity. You know, retirement, they want us to die 5 years after retirement so they don't have to give us the pension. We want to prove them wrong. We want to outlive them by 20 years. We want to at least enjoy our retirement. And, you know, Katie is really steamrolling this whole project of the wellness in Marion County Sheriff's to make sure officers and the staff lives well beyond retirement. So, you know, you're bringing some great things. Now, you want to go into the breathing?
Well, I let me just bring one thing up, because the mindfulness and we do want to live longer, right? So the whole concept, and again, science backs, is that if you put mindfulness into your daily practice, it does increase longevity, and it is that awareness piece of, okay, I'm going to be mindful to whatever it is. And John, you brought up the pictures that I take every morning of the lake that I live on here in Texas, Lake Ray Hubbard. And it's a reminder, whether it's sunny or cloudy, or, you know, Texas weather changes every 20 minutes, that for me personally, when we purchased this house, there was a reasoning behind being on water, being more in nature than just buying a house, you know, in a neighborhood, because it gives back. It gives back to me, to my family. And no matter what the sky looks like, I always remind myself, if it's a really dark, dreary, foggy day, that the sun is shining behind these clouds, and that no matter how dark it might seem, the light always shines. So be mindful, stay present, and you'll always find your light. So just, if you're in a tough place right now, I hope you take that, put it in your pocket, that the light is still shining. And that's let that be your mindfulness practice. Always, close your eyes, meditate, whatever it looks like, to stay in that light. I just wanted to throw that in. And the breathing here, and, you know, we can talk about the breathing now, because that's part of it, as the meditation piece.
Yeah, and, you know, there's actually Jeff Thompson. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's retired NYPD, and he does this thing, the AWE Project, and I just finished a week of that.
What kind of project?
The AWE Project.
AWE. AWE, not like, oh, the cat's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog's adorable.
And the most recent one was on water, and I mean, he finds fascinating. He does some really great work, and I met him like on a PIO course on how to talk about suicide a while ago, but I really admire what he's doing with AWE.
Yeah, it's very cool. I actually have participated in it a bunch of times and have the old files. John, I'll share them with you.
Okay. Need it.
So let's talk about how the breathing comes into to all of this. We're going to do something fun now.
Yeah, well, I think if, you know, I really have a goal for anyone who I interact with, it's to be able to instill a sense of self-sovereignty, you know, that we have control over the way that we feel. We have control over our breath. I say every time, you may not have control over anything else, and you can control your breath. And so being able to do that, being able to, you know that we have the ability to respond and not just react, and that our breath has a really big part to do with that. It's just super important. And so, you know, breathing, it really just, it feels good. And it's so necessary. You know, I remind people we have to get, you know, fresh oxygen to the tips of our fingers and the tips of our toes. And sometimes we'll go an entire day without a really big, full breath. And so, yeah, it goes so far to be able to regulate, help us be able to down regulate our bodies. And it's such a powerful tool. And so I asked, before the show, if you guys had done any breath work on the show, because I thought it might be something fun or different, but I don't know if you're ready for that.
It's almost like a reset. When you're breathing, you put yourself into a reset and you're like, wow, I can't feel bad now.
Exactly. I mean, it gives you control, it hands the keys back over, it kind of, it gives you a sense of, stability and purpose and, okay, it's in my court.
Yeah.
All right,
so lead us through it.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do what's called straw breathing, and straw breathing is my absolute go-to. One of the reasons I thought it'd be great on your podcast is because people could follow along while they're listening, and it's also a perfectly safe breathing technique to do while you're driving. So under any circumstances, you're in good shape to follow along with this breathing. You don't have to close your eyes or anything like that. So with straw breathing, what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in for a count of 4, and we're going to breathe out for a count of 8 through pursed lips as if we're breathing out through a straw. And so we're going to do this 4 times. And anytime I offer any kind of breath work or body practice, I also offer, the ability to make any changes you need to on your own. So if that's not, I don't know who has long COVID, who has, asthma. So if for any reason, the breathing in for 4 and out for 8 doesn't feel good for you, you're welcome to modify it. So in for 3, out for 6, also effective. In for 2, out for 4, also effective. Just elongating our exhale. It helps be able to shift our nervous system from the sympathetic nervous system over into the parasympathetic nervous system. Our parasympathetic nervous system is associated with our exhale. So when we double the length of our exhale, we're just like, we're shifting over. You can feel it right away. It's when I joke, I got bad news in front of a big audience not too long ago, and it's what I did to not cry. So it's like, get it together. Like, straw breathing is a really good technique for that. So not to mention, but I also teach, you're never gonna, remember something that you heard one time. So not too long ago, I was on a flight catching beautiful sunset, we're chasing it really. And I asked myself, what can I do to savor this moment more? Right. And to make it stick. And so I added some straw breathing to that moment just to really even settle into it. So I tell recruits, practice straw breathing on a beautiful day with your windows down and your favorite song on, see how we don't have to just do these kinds of breathing techniques when we're feeling bad. We can do them when we're feeling good. And then we're even more likely to remember to do them when we're feeling bad.
Because it kind of bookmarks it in your brain.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to breathe. We're going to breathe in through our nose for 4 and then out through our mouth for 8. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, we'll maybe just adjust our seat just a little bit. We want to feel upright and, comfortable. And we'll start with a big exhale. So we'll push all the air out of our lungs. And then we'll start to breathe in. 2, 3, 4, out through pursed lips. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4, out through pursed lips. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4, out through pursed lips. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4, out through pursed lips. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and return to your normal breath.
Loose.
Had a stressful day at work. You almost can feel doing those breathing exercises. You can almost feel it melting away in your shoulders, and that's where I carry everything. So you start feeling it by like the second or third. You start feeling a little, wherever you're carrying your stress, you start feeling a little tingling sensation, and it just kind of like washes away, which is really nice. Now I feel it, like I still feel it going down my back, and it's like, woo, You know, it's almost like a really good morning stretch.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of control over how we can feel in our body, and we aren't taught that often. You know, something else I think you guys might find. So last, Mark Junkerman, you had him on the show, and he was talking about the International Critical Incident Stress Foundation. I presented last May at the World Congress on enhancing critical incident stress management through mindfulness practices, including breathing. And so when I'm doing one-on-one peer support, I'll often bring a breathwork technique if it's wanted. You know, I mean, I offer first, and it just, you know, between the kind of the magic really of peer support and CISM model, and then, you know, adding that breathwork technique at the end. I mean, the two just go hand in hand and can have a really almost immediate impact on, you know, down regulation.
It's like the secret sauce of whether it's, you know, it's secret sauce bookend, whether you're starting your day or ending your day with some straw breath. We got to take a quick break. We will be right back. Stay tuned, everybody.
To the Health Engineer Show. I'm Cliff Buckley, the Health Engineer, right here on the Offbeat 50.
Hi, I'm Larry Cordian.
Hi, my name is Susan Hamilton, and you're watching Offbeat.
Hi, this is Doreen Milano. Welcome to Big Ideas Small Business, where we will talk to Terry Arjala.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, with Katie Carlson from the Marion County Sheriff's Department. If you missed it, we just did some amazing straw breathing, and you can feel it in your body as it just releases feels like it releases toxins. You know, it was a great feeling. And would that take less than a minute to do? And it really, it resets your whole tone. And I want to thank you for that. You know,
yeah, that was great.
And it's the simple things that we have to grasp onto. It's not always about sitting on a couch and having therapy and going through all this, you know, reliving our traumas and blah, blah, blah. It's just learning to center ourselves and to be within ourselves and find joy in that. And that breathing puts you into that mindset.
Absolutely. And, you know, just in the interest of time, Katie, you know, you got to put together this amazing program. If there's somebody that's listening, that's the wellness coordinator or first responder that wants to bring this into their office, what would you say, like the top 5 things right off the bat should be that they should be looking at to incorporate into training, or just in to go to the chief and say, hey, chief, can we start this program, get a grant writer, whatever that looks like, but the top 5?
I think one would be peer support and critical incident stress management. I mean, it's a model that's just proven. I think that breath work is really important, as we see. I mean, you don't have to. I've been through mindfulness and meditation teacher training, a 300-hour course, and there's an organization, the Center for Mindfulness and Public Safety, that I'm connected to that does a lot there. But but you don't have to be trained to teach how to do straw breathing. You know, I mean, anybody can do that. So having people that are aware of it. Suicide prevention. You know, I mean, we have to talk about suicide, and we have to talk about it a lot. And we have to stop making anything a bad word or being afraid to say, you know, what we mean. I think, again, hope science is really promising. I can't say that, you know, we're not very far down the road, but I would look at it for anything new. And then anything, again, as I mentioned with yoga, it's not just about yoga. It's not, you know, it's not going to be everybody's thing, but just making sure that everybody has a thing, and kind of, you know, emphasizing the importance of physical activity, and not just in a muscular gym sense, but in a physical activity that brings you joy. So whether that's playing with your kids, going on a walk, you know, with your dog, sailing, boating, whatever, being able to do that. Those are kind of, that probably is my.
You know, Katie, when you brought up about the grant for wellness, right? And then Sam just brought up, she said about grant writers. Did you have a grant writer write your grant, or was it just somebody that was in the department that wrote it?
One of my best friends is our CFO, and I'm not exactly sure. I know that there was a group of people that were working on it together. I'm not 100% sure who actually wrote it at the time.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that any department that's interested, when it's open, that you know, you can get it done, and it's take advantage when the money is there, because like I said, if you're relying on your regular budget, you know, the chiefs, you know, for chiefs listening, always ask. You always ask for way more, and then, you know, it falls where it may. But, you know, for Katie, how can people? What's the best way for people to reach you?
If you have questions about anything related to wellness with public safety, email my work email probably is. That's Katie, Katie.Carlson, CARLSON @indy.gov. Otherwise, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at KDHC, and would love to follow people there. And I'm on LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn's really a flourishing wellness community. I feel like that's where most of the, you know, PIO world was mostly on Twitter. And I feel like, you know, wellness and public safety has a pretty strong footing in LinkedIn right now too.
Seeing more and more of it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, LinkedIn family, if you're watching, we're on LinkedIn Live right there. And then can we find you if somebody just Googles, you know, Marion County Sheriff's Office? And
I'm a super easy person to find.
Awesome. So there you go. For those of you that are listening and not watching the podcast live, Katie Carlson is the wellness director, the Marion County Sheriff's Office, and you can get her via email or by going to the website. Connect with her on LinkedIn, connect with her across her social media, and you know, let's do this wellness thing together, because that's where it is. We can heal together. We can support each other in our wellness journey together. Katie, it has been an absolute joy to have you on the podcast. Thank you for like just breaking it down and making it like easy. Anybody can do this.
We like easy.
Yeah, if you don't have it in your department, it doesn't mean you can't do this yourself. So, you know, support yourself, because supporting yourself means you're supporting your family and the bigger picture. You're a better person at work as well. So we thank you so much. Wish you all the best. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Katie.
Out there, and thank you so much for your for what you're doing for Marion County and beyond. You know.
It's my honor.
And beyond, like Toy Story.
You what?
She's like, and beyond, like Buzz Lightyear. And beyond.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about. Well, the podcast will take you beyond.
Yeah.
So take care, Katie. We will be in touch for sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care, Katie.
Bye-bye. This was awesome. I like to, when we have guests like Katie and she breaks it down the way she does, you know me, John, and I just say there is no excuse. Okay.
Right.
She told you where to get the grant. It's through Department of Justice. She said there's open season for that grant. So go find out and then implement at least the top 5 things. But, you know, you got to ask. You got to make the ask. The money is there. Ask for it, then start implementing.
But another thing is, you know, even if you're a small department and you do not have grant writers, you don't have the personnel to go out and search these grants. A lot of these wellness programs could be implemented without money. They don't cost anything. Just what we just talked about with the straw breathing doesn't cost a dime to teach people on how, and you don't need a certified instructor to teach you how to straw breathe. Just look it up, talk to Katie, and implement straw breathing. Implement some of the things that are free and stress relievers into your department. You don't need large money to be mentally healthy. You just have to implement this.
And, you know, speaking of bringing stuff in, hey, if you want to be our main sponsor for this podcast, have a commercial made, and there's lots of perks that go with that. Please reach out to us directly, whether you comment you know, on a post or whatever. But the best way to do that is through our website, abadgeofhonor.org. And you can just fill in the message spot saying, hey, I want to be a sponsor. Things are rocking and rolling this entire month. We've got 2 November fundraisers. First Wednesday night here where I am out east in Rockwall, Texas. We have got Patriots Poor, who have designated a badge of honor as their November beneficiary. What does that mean? It means come out Wednesday night. And I already hear the excuses. I don't want excuses. You know, with all your family coming into town, with all the cooking that you need to do, with all the prep work, with the kids at home, for God's sake, you need a break. Come out to Siren Rock Brewing Company Wednesday starting at 4 p.m. and just kick back and chill with us, whether it's for an hour or two, whatever it is. You deserve the break so you can show up better for your family. And the best part about it is you get to give back directly to the first responder community here locally. So thank you, Patriots Poor. You can find that information actually on our Facebook page. Just watch any of the live videos. I'll be putting one out tomorrow. It's also on our events calendar. Next week is Giving Tuesday. Stay on the lookout for posts and things related to that. A donation of $36, you can cover a scholarship for a first responder to attend our Wellness and Resiliency workshop. Our friends over at the Peace Officers Angels Foundation has their Christmas Angels program ongoing. So visit them if you want to adopt an entire department or adopt an officer over at POAF.org. And hey, if you're liking what we're doing each week, please like and subscribe, spread the word, whether you're watching this on LinkedIn Live, on X, Twitter Live, right here on YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button. It says thank you and lets us know that we're doing good stuff. We'll continue to pump out and bring you the quality information like we had tonight with Katie and beyond. Hit us up. We're across social media, all the social media platforms at A Badge of Honor. And December 1st, we have our first responder wellness and resiliency workshop. If you're a first responder, go to abadgeofhonor.org. Sign up for the workshop. We want to thank our sponsors at the Garland Police Department, also the Law Enforcement Mental Health Association. It is an 8-hour workshop. You get TCOL credits. We take care of you, soup to nuts. We talked about the tactical strategies for eliminating stress while on the job because it's just stressful. We'll talk about how the responses to trauma, you're totally normal. All right. We're smashing through that stigma. We are putting you together with resources that actually work. So go ahead and register there. And if you, you'll see if you're a veteran, if you're a part of a Rockwall County or Rowlett community first responder, contact us first. We've got something special going on for you at that workshop. Gosh, December it's just going to keep going. There's so much. Check us out on our website at badgeofhonor.org. And to everybody out there, first responders, we're praying for you every day. Thank you for what you do. Thank our veterans out there. Thank all the active duty folks that are out there keeping us safe, our shores safe, wherever you are in the world. John, take us home.
Well, you know what? This is our last show before the holiday, before Thanksgiving. Want to wish all our first responders and our veterans out there very happy Thanksgiving. What a great place to learn joy. When you're sitting around with your family at the table, or if you're sitting even if you're at work and enjoying the company of others, be thankful for everything we have. Don't take things for granted. Just enjoy being, and have a very, very happy Thanksgiving.
Till next week, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBN network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.